Hey, what's going on, students? It's me. Just going to give you a quick presentation on the moon and the moon phases. Also, you can see in the Google Classroom that there is a list of questions that actually follow along with what I'm going to be presenting you today. So make sure that you either print that out or create a Google Doc and write down your answers as we go along, so that way you can keep up and get credit for showing that you actually were in class today. It's the phases of the moon notes.
So phases of the moon, PowerPoint notes and sheet. So some facts about the moon. We only have one of them. Only one. The moon is made strictly of rock. It is just like any other planet floating around, including our own. It's a sphere. It's a ball that spins around us. And every 27 1/3 day, the moon revolves around the Earth. Which means if this is the Earth, it takes 27 1/3 days for the moon to go from this position all the way around and back to the other side, or from where it originally started. So just like Earth does, the moon rotates on its axis. Okay? So the same side of the moon is always facing the Earth. If you look at the moon today, and you look at the moon 20 years from today, you will still be looking at the same side of the moon. So this side of the moon that faces Earth is called the near side. Fun facts about the moon. The moon does not produce its own light. Okay, so we can see the moon at night. Everybody knows that. However, it doesn't make light. The only thing that can create energy is the sun. So if this is the Earth and this is the moon, the sun is over here and it shines over, it hits the moon and then reflects back to us. So the light that we see from the moon and how we can actually see it at night is a reflection of the light from the sun. The sun's light bounces off the moon and reflects back to from the near side of the moon. The side opposite the near side does not receive this light, so it is dark. It cannot be seen. We call that the dark side of the moon. The dark side. Come to the dark side. Some other fun facts about the moon. Up close, you would see that the moon is covered in mountains and flat areas and also craters. Craters are the dents in the moon, where it looks like somebody threw a ball down in the dirt and it makes a nice little cone shape. And it looks like the inside of a bowl. And that's from it being impacted by asteroids or meteors or meteorites slamming into the moon's surface. These craters are created when the moon or a planet is hit by an object from space. Living things do not exist on the moon because the moon has no air and no water. During the day, the moon gets very, very hot. And at night, the moon gets very, very, very cold. The moon's shape. The moon never changes its shape. That's a common misconception amongst kids, is that they think that the moon's shape actually changes. It doesn't. It's a sphere. It's been a sphere forever. But it does appear different in the night sky. And that is caused by, as it moves around, this is the Earth, as it moves around us, it's only getting so much light from the sun. So we are only seeing that lit up side of the moon. But the moon, it never actually changes shape. Just the amount that gets light is what we see. So this means that what the moon looks like tonight is how it will look 27 1/3 day from now. If you go outside, I think today it's a full moon. If you go out in 27 days, it'll be a full moon. The phases of the moon all look like this. You have your full moon and you have your new moon. It's not that we get a new moon. It's not that Amazon delivers us a new one. It's that we can't see it. The part that's being lit by the sun is facing away from the Earth. The phases of the moon are the different ways that the moon looks to us throughout the 27 1/3 days. The new moon. Let's talk about that one first. The new moon is the first phase of the moon. We are right here if you got lost. New moon. And that is at the top of the second page. This phase is when the moon's near side is not receiving any sunlight. In turn, the moon appears to be dark in the sky, and we cannot see the moon from Earth during this phase. The waxing crescent, when you can see the right side of the moon. This is the second moon phase. During this phase, the moon is getting a little bit of sunlight that we can see. From Earth, the moon appears to be shaped like a very thin crescent. Easy way to remember crescent is think about a croissant. If you've ever seen a croissant, it's that little C shape. Same thing with the waxing crescent. Croissant, crescent. During the waxing phase, the near side of the moon appears to be going from small to big. Anytime you hear that word waxing, that means the part that you can see is getting bigger. So you wax on with the right side. The quarter moon, or the first quarter, is the third phase of the moon. This phase is also known as first quarter. A quarter moon is when half of the moon's near side, which is 1/4 of the entire moon, is receiving sunlight. During this phase, people on Earth see half of the moon, and you always, for first quarter, you can see the right side of the moon. So this is the part you can see. This is the part that is dark. You cannot see. First quarter is on the right. So to reflect back, we go from new moon to seeing a little bit on the right side to seeing half on the right side. A waxing gibbous. Again, that key word there is waxing. Waxing means we're being able to see more and more and more of it lit up. The waxing gibbous is the fourth phase of the moon. During this phase, 3/4 of the near side of the moon is receiving sunlight. From Earth, the moon looks almost full, but a little piece of it is not yet seen. The full moon, when middle schoolers act crazy, when they turn nutso. During the full moon, which is the fifth phase of the moon has revolved halfway around the Earth. In turn, the moon receives lots of sunlight that we can see, and the entire side is lit up. Waning gibbous. Now that's the other big word, is waning. W-A-N-I-N-G. It's this word right here at the top. When the moon is waning, that means that it is getting smaller. That you can only see a little bit until you can't see anything. Remember how the waxing gibbous was almost a complete circle with a little piece missing? Well, a waning gibbous is also almost a complete circle with a little piece missing on the right side. However, it's the opposite side of the moon that is receiving the sunlight. Also, when it's waning, you can see the left side of the moon, but you cannot see the right side. So waning always means you can see the left, where waxing, you can always see the right. During the waning phases, the near side of the moon appears to be going from big to small. Waning always means that it's getting smaller. Last quarter moon, or third quarter moon, typically I refer to it as the third quarter. During the seventh phase of the moon is another quarter moon. This phase is also known as third quarter. Now, half of the moon's near side is receiving sunlight and can be seen from Earth. So here we are again. I can see the left side of the moon during the third quarter. The waning crescent. Remember how waning is going from big to small, and a crescent is a small, thin shape. Well, during the waning crescent phase, the moon, the 8th phase, the moon is a thin crescent once again. After the waning crescent phase, the moon goes back to the new moon phase, and the cycle repeats itself. So here's the phases of the moon. Here's our sun on the left or on the right side of your screen. And here's the earth, and there's you right there, Columbus, Ohio. So I start with a new moon. I can see the right side. I can see the right side. I can see the right side. I see it all. I can see the left. I can see the left. I can see the left. And we're right back to a new moon. So it goes new, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, and new moon. So this whole cycle, how long does it take for that whole cycle to go? I'll give you a second to think about it. Okay, so did you say 27 1/3 days? If you did, give yourself a round of applause. Yes. Wonderful. Excellent work, kiddos. So, that's it. That's all for the presentation. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments down below on the Google Classroom link or on this YouTube video if you so choose. But yeah, keep studying the moon. And we will talk to you soon.
Come on, son.